Today, I'm going to complete the greatest challenge in Victoria 3 by taking one of the weakest nations on the planet, becoming a global economic powerhouse, developing the most advanced military in the world, and using it to destroy the United States, turning it into the 11th province of Canada. Hello, Canada, and auto wins from the United States and Newfoundland. Today, we will be playing Victoria 3 and starting as the Hudson Bay Company, a company that has existed right up until last week. And my challenge is simple: destroy the USA. But there's a tiny problem. The military-industrial complex that is America tends to develop the greatest army the world has ever seen. And, well, we don't have an army, making this challenge a little bit difficult. Even if we did have an army, though, we are subservient to the British Empire, requiring us to ultimately break free from the greatest economic powerhouse in the game. It is named Vicky 3 after all, making this challenge a little bit more difficult. And even if we could do all that, well, the Hudson's Bay Company isn't even Canada. Hell, the provinces are all broken up. We don't even have any good resources to start with, making this challenge next to impossible. But with some good old Canadian grit and a cheeky strategy I've never seen used on YouTube before, we'll be able to destroy the USA and make it into the 11th province of Canada. So sit back on your Chesterfield, grab a bag of your favorite ketchup chips, make sure you've liked the video, make sure you're subscribed, maybe even leave a comment while you're down there, and prepare yourself for all-out war. There is no enemy like a friend betrayed.
Canada, but Canada's Canada.
The people of Canada like it.
Governor Trudeau. What I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state.
This is a direct attack, to be clear.
It's never going to happen.
President Trump decided today to attack us.
We will never be the 51st state.
That will never be the 51st state.
We will always be the true North, strong and free.
This one's personal, boys. Now, I know there should be no Americans watching by this point because it is a game about maps and geography. However, it does involve some topics such as slavery, racism, destroying smaller nations to secure oil, imposing taxes on your people that will damage your own population's standard of living without them even noticing it because you've devolved their education system, and things of that nature. So hell, maybe there are still some Americans in this audience after all. And to them I say this: my gripes are not with you as an individual. Also to the CIA, no doubt you're watching this due to my thumbnail. I want everyone here to know I am doing this strictly in Victoria 3. I do not have terroristic or suicidal thoughts. I'm a happy, healthy lad. I do stay away from windows above the 3rd floor, have no allergies, my brakes were just changed on my car, the elevator in my apartment building is serviced regularly, I consume no drugs, and I owe no one any money. So you'll have to get creative with this one. Now, here we are in Vicky 3, a game all about building buildings and a strong economy to become dominant over your neighbor. We start with 10 possible construction each week. For reference, if you want to be the #1 powerhouse in the world, you need to be at like 1,000. Now, we use this construction to build buildings, and I'm going to need to carefully select my buildings in order to build up my economy, get Canada together, break away from Great Britain, and demolish the US. For example, if I wanted to come over to Quebec and build an iron mine, it takes roughly 400 construction, and thus it'll take about 40 weeks. And this building goes into my government construction queue because I'm the one building the mine. However, there's also a private construction queue. These are members of our wealthy population, putting money into an investment pool and using it to build businesses and buildings. I like that because I'm allowed to tax those buildings and it's good for me. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over to my system of laws here and look at my economic system. I'm going to change from our current interventionism, where I, the government, build a lot of things, and try to switch it to laissez-faire and increase their construction allocation so they'll build buildings on my behalf. It costs me absolutely nothing and I get to tax the people that work in those buildings. Dear God, I love this game. You'll see once this is put in, it'll change our entire economy. Then I'm gonna come over to lovely Quebec over here. We don't even have a Pizza Biscamay. We just have Val d'Or, I think, somewhere. The absolute first thing I'm gonna do is build the construction sector to increase the speed and the amount of things I can construct. And the developers actually made Quebec construction completely and totally overpowered. I'll show you a little bit later, but that's because in real life, there's only 2 seasons here: winter and construction. The mighty pylon. sits in its natural habitat. Sedentary, the cone will make its nest and stay for years. The local Quebecois know to avoid the pylon and speed past it at all cost. For more information on the majestic Quebecois construction cone, contact the Canadian Wildlife Service in Ottawa. Next, I'm going to use some of our authority to enact a decree. Namely, I'm going to place road maintenance here in Quebec. Not only because the potholes make you feel like you're driving through war-torn Bosnia, but also because it increases construction sector efficiency. So now that we've already addressed improving our construction sector and economic base, we need to look at which technology we're going to research. And my friends, do I have the perfect technology to start with? I'm gonna pick up atmospheric engines. Not only will this allow us to work on the motor industry, for which I have a cheeky strategy later on that will allow us to become economically dominant over the entire planet, and it doesn't even involve selling my soul to a megalomaniac billionaire who also controls the alternative media that people now use as their main source of media. How do they not see this? How do they not see? It also is going to enable a production method for our mines that's going to kickstart our economy here. But before we do anything, I need to figure out a way to secure the various provinces and form the nation of Canada. As you can see, we do have some Native American states over here, and the game starts by colonizing them. Not a great part of history, but you know, it's kind of something that they did. Now, before every flight or hockey game, I have to say a land acknowledgement, but it's fine. We will trade them a couple of smallpox blankets for pretty much all this land. So yeah, epic. Centuries of Native American genocide, solved by simply stating we did it. A solution brought to you by the government of Canada. But securing the other provinces, like a proper Quebec, we're going to do that through the Journal. Now, the Journal has a decision here, Confederate Canada. For this, we need to make sure we've researched nationalism. We have to have good relations with Great Britain, our papa, and have amicable relations with our neighbors. So if they want to join us, we're good friends with them, and our papa says it's okay, they'll allow us to get together. So the first thing I'll do is come over to Great Britain, and I'll just begin to start improving relations. Then I'm going to stop off and pick up nationalism so we can actually execute those journal entries. And with all that, I think we can start the game. I'm gonna come back over to my budget and just reduce government wages and military wages. We do not need those. So you'll notice actually we are losing quite a bit of money. Iron is expensive, wood's expensive, tools, and fabric. So I'm also going to build an iron mine, a tool factory, and some livestock ranches. We've just finished our iron mine, and look, it's going to start filling out incredibly quickly with people. And we've unlocked laissez-faire. Beautiful. And that now has shot up our income on a monthly basis. My private investors notice wood is expensive, and we're using a lot of wood in our construction. They're building a logging camp on their own, which is very nice. The next law I'm gonna try and pass is I'm gonna move from mercantilism, not to, you know, isolationism like the modern day United States, but to free trade. This is going to completely remove any tariffs and will bolster our economy a lot. So furniture is also very expensive on the British market, so I'm going to just pick up furniture manufacturing in here. I'm going to build things to really entice people to come to Quebec. They're gonna have furniture, they're gonna have food industry, they're going to have textile mill, things like that. Now, we are stockpiling quite a bit of gold, so I'm actually going to create another construction sector. And again, this is just to allow me to build things faster. Obviously, as you know, your construction costs you money, so I really want to be straddling that line of building as fast as I can, but not being cash flow negative for too long. So we are losing some money, mostly our construction costs, but you'll see how I get out of this. Okay, so we now have free trade, which is very nice. So the next law I'm going to change is again an economy-based law, and I'm going to try to move to per capita taxation. This will actually increase my income by 1.5K. And we've unlocked nationalism now, which is awesome because we can come over to our journal and begin to confederate Canada. So by doing this, we will gain an additional random province. Let's hit this. God save the Queen. We've acquired Lower Canada. So we have a full, beautiful Quebec now.
Donald Trump should take over Canada. However, I think we should decline Quebec.
Hey, America! No one makes fun of Quebec except for me. And maybe Alberta, but that's it. Quebec has a lot of unemployed that are looking for jobs. The attraction over here is high. There's solid throughput. Now, in order to pull off this journal entry again, we need to wait 30 months. And we now have per capita taxation. That's awesome. Our gold has shot up. We're now making plus 4.3K. That's a lot of Canadian Tire bucks, which to me means I should build another construction sector. We now have 25 construction. We're building things even faster, and we can look to pushing through our next law. I want to add public school to give our population a better education. All jokes aside, this is going to play a critical part in absolutely dismantling the British Empire. But more on that in a little bit. We now have public schools, which is really nice. Later, we're going to be able to invest in our education. So this will increase literacy, quality of life, assimilation, access to education, and all kinds. It is well worth the investment. It's almost like investing in this helps the common man and hurts the upper elite. Okay, so we've unlocked railways, the Iron Horse, and the Canadian Pacific Railway will have some cheeky bonuses later on that are super specific to Canada, but more on that in a minute. The first place I'm going to build a railway is over here in Manitoba. It will increase not only the infrastructure so that we can build more buildings, however, it'll also increase our demand for engines. So immediately after, I'm going to build a motor industry here. Our private investors have so lovingly for us made a steel mill here in Quebec. So Quebec will produce iron, which will then be turned into steel. It'll be shipped over here to Manitoba, where they will build motors for the railways to increase the infrastructure here in Manitoba. And once we have improved infrastructure, well, then we'll really be cooking. We can start building all kinds of things. The beautiful thing about the Canadian prairies here is that they all have the Canadian Prairie modifier. While it does cost more infrastructure, the agricultural throughput is incredible. When we look at a pop's standard of living, one of their biggest expenses is grain. And right now, people are impoverished in Canada, and that is because grain is so expensive. If we get some infrastructure here, we can start pumping out the grain, and it'll be incredibly helpful to us. Okay, so there were gold fields in Yukon, 5 gold mines. So if I can get these online, gold mines allow me to mint coin and essentially just improve my purse up here, which will be very nice. So I think investing in Yukon after we've kind of got Manitoba online, that is the way to go. We can also confederate Canada yet again, so we can grab another province. And we've got New Brunswick now. God save the Queen. Beautiful. Okay, so we now have census suffrage also, giving our people a right to vote. And it also unlocks women's suffrage. That'll be really good because once we can get women into the workforce, we can tax them. And I'm nothing if not a tax lover.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
God, I can't believe I just used a Drake meme in this video.
Call me on my cell phone.
So now the laws I want to enact are more around the power structure. So we can move from peasant levy army to a national militia, allowing us to conscript way more people. And ultimately, this is going to be the first step in creating the world's greatest army and pointing it south. We can also confederate Canada again. The time has come, so let's see pull. And we've gained Upper Canada. So Ontario is one. We have lovely, lovely Ottawa here, Bytown. So I've been beefing up the construction sector here in Manitoba. I'm also going to just start building things that we're always going to need. So we're always going to need food, furniture, textile mills, and more. You'll note that I do have the decree on for the Greener Grass campaign to bring more people here to Manitoba to work in these industries. Kind of like in real life when I was a young lad, when my dad went out for that pack of smokes in Saskatchewan. And then he got stuck working in the industries over there. He had no choice. Ah, memories. I'm also going to begin improving the wheat farms as well and really reducing the price of wheat. So I'm just gonna kind of wait until all of this builds out in Manitoba and we'll get Winterpeg online in a bit. All right, the time has come to confederate Canada again. Oh, we got Nova Scotia. Nice, sick pull, dude. Obviously, we cannot get Newfoundland because that belongs to the British. You'll know that from the Hockey Night intro. The unification of Canada is complete. We are the true North, strong and free. All right, so finally, we've pretty much industrialized Manitoba. So it's got a high attraction, the population's significantly growing, and we're lifting people up out of poverty. We can now move on to the Yukon and getting it up to snuff. I refer to it as the Yukon and not Yukon sometimes. I know it's incorrect. I'm pretty sure myself and every Canadian of my generation has a burnt-in memory of watching Yvon and the Yukon on Teletoon, which was retrospectively low-key racist, but was Canadian content, so they played it a lot. So to improve the Yukon, I have a plan. I want to get a railway in there. I then want to build out one gold mine. After a gold mine's being built, I want to make sure we have some basic industries to attract people. Food industries, furniture industries, textile mills. Getting some iron mines in would be good, and then more gold mines. So I've locked that in. Before I do that, however, I need to stop off for some universities. So I'll come over to here, Ontario, which has the lovely U Ottawa, and we'll pick up 2 universities. The reason I'm doing this is because universities help provide innovation, which allow us to research things faster. Now, if we take a look at the Hudson Bay Company and compare it to Great Britain, well, Great Britain currently has a literacy of 66% and innovation of 116 per week. So they're really able to research things quite quickly. Whereas us, you know, we have a literacy of 45 and an innovation of 52. That's pretty piss poor. You'll see that our innovation cap is at 110. This is primarily dictated by the percentage of our population that is literate, and increasing literacy takes a ton of time, which is why I'm constantly slowly investing in increasing the literacy and building out universities. If we eventually want to break free and absolutely demolish Great Britain, one of the things we have to do is out-tech them. To do that, we have to be more literate than them, have a higher innovation, and rush these military technologies faster than they can. This is an incredibly difficult task, but you'll see I have a bit of a cheeky plan, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. All right, and we can confederate Canada yet again, and we will now have British Columbia. So God save the Queen. Now we do have Southern Columbia down here, Idaho and Oregon. We don't want that at all. Those are just American places.
Describe the Kachuk brothers in one word.
Brothers.
But luckily, the United States at some point has a decision and typically takes these over. So I'm trying to push through proportional taxation, which will increase our revenue again. This ensures that everyone pays kind of an equal share of their income to the country, unlike some countries. Now that we've kind of gotten Canada all together, I can come over to my journal here. We can actually turn the Hudson's Bay Company into Canada now. Canada has emerged as a rising power. Isn't it glorious? So we've passed proportional taxation, and now that we've also unlocked the technology human rights, we've discovered human rights, I can pass some even better laws. If we look at child labor, we can enact compulsory primary school, getting those kids educated. Given the low wages that workers in Saskatchewan are receiving, more and more parents are pushed to send their children to work to help sustain their families. The children yearn for the mines, but we will take them out of the mines at all costs. We must put a stop to this. With the government push for compulsory schools, adult men have been pressed to cover the gap. However, their bodies are too large and their fingers too wide, and industrial accidents have been increasing. Oh my days. The screams, the screams. The children aren't coming back, so they better get used to it. Oh, and we have compulsory primary schools. We've passed it. Beautiful. You love to see it. So if I come to buildings and I build more universities to try and catch up to Great Britain, and these universities are going to cost me a bit. Goods for government building, you'll see the cost of paper should increase. So we will need to mix in a couple paper mills around. And as you can see, the United States has somehow taken control of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Now we can still build a few more innovations till we get capped at 115. Now we are capped based on our literacy, but something really nice is that we have this glut of bureaucracy. Now I can invest bureaucracy into various institutions. In this case, I'm going to invest in the education institution, thus increasing our literacy and therefore pushing the cap of innovation even higher than 115.
One eternity later.
So now if we look at our literacy, you can see we are currently at 101 a week, which is a lot better than we were doing before. I'm gonna keep pegging myself against I'm gonna keep comparing myself to Great Britain rather. They have 140, so we're just slowly trailing behind them. And our literacy has taken a steep curve up after we've made that investment. So we've just unlocked multiculturalism. This is awesome because it's going to allow us to attract more immigrants from all over the world. Every different race or ethnicity could come to Canada and not be discriminated against. Except if you come into contact with a truck driver, apparently. Or actually, maybe that's not true. I was always taught the USA is a melting pot. People go to the USA and become American. Whereas Canada, you come here and it's a mosaic of every different background. Chalk that up under things you'd love to see. But this is awesome because I'm about to pair this with the Canadian Pacific Railway, which is going to be completely and totally broken. See here in my journal entry, if I build a railway in each of these places, I get to trigger the last spike. Now that is going to give us a 200% migration bonus. So when coupled with multiculturalism, you have insane migration attraction and you allow everybody on the planet to come. Well, that's gonna mean more citizens for your country. And more citizens means more tax revenue that I could use on an army to completely demolish the US. Mark my words, the US will be completely destroyed by the tax revenue generated from Mexican immigrants. It's like a Trumper's worst nightmare, and it's completely overpowered too. So I'll show you how this works in just a second. Okay, we now have public health insurance. It wouldn't be Canada without it. What happened down here, eh? What happened down here? Modern day America playthrough.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
A little sus there, America. So the plan to break away from Great Britain has two parts. One, we out-tech them. Two, we need a strong enough economy to break free from them and support our military. And if we take a look at our liberty desire from Great Britain, we're currently a dominion. You know, we're taking some serious penalties here for different things, one of which is our economic dependence on our overlord. Right now, we have an entangled economy with them, and part of it is because we have unfulfilled buy orders from our own economy, so we buy it from them. The big one there is coal. We need a lot of coal in our economy, and we're just buying it from the British, and as a result, we are dependent on them. If we can increase our production of coal, we reduce our dependence on the British, thus we increase our liberty desire and can break away from them much easier. And there we've done it. I've built a railway in BC and we've triggered the last spike, completing the Canadian Pacific Railway. It only took us a mountain of pâté chinois and hundreds of Chinese immigrant lives.
Let's go down in the tunnel with the nitro and set the charge.
Okay, I do very good. You see.
In the game, this is great for us because it gives us a 200% boost to migration attraction here in BC. Not only does BC have gold mines, but it also has the potential for a ton of coal mines. And given that we're entangled, coal is almost more valuable than gold to me right now. So we are going to attract a ton of people to work these mines, and we'll be able to tax every single one of them. And we can use that tax to build more construction, thus enabling us to build things faster and snowball our economy. I told you this was completely broken. Now just wait till I implement my cheeky automobile strategy and we'll have the world's greatest economy. And because we've got those coal mines online now, we're buying less coal from the British. Our economic dependence on our overlord is now only entangled at 2. All right, so in terms of technology, I'm now going to try and pick up steel frame buildings. This is going to allow me to change my construction production method. So I have about 24 months to wait for that to be researched. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is prepare Quebec. I'm gonna make sure they have steel mills. I'm also going to be picking up some glass works as well, and maybe some more explosives factories. And there you have it. We've unlocked steel frame buildings and can now switch Quebec over to the new production method. You'll see right now we're making 113 construction total, and it is costing us 69K. But when I switch over, so our construction went up to 204, but the costs went up to 120K. So I'm gonna pick up plastics now, as we will be able to use some oil and then go from 60 glass being produced to 100 glass being produced, which will drive down our building costs significantly. In the meantime, I have to look at my education. You can see my literacy is now at 77 overall in Canada, which is quite nice. We're 11th in the world. I guess the game isn't super realistic. It looks like Alberta also has the ability to read in that. So if we look at our USA counterparts, they are 40th at 60%, quelle surprise. But the British, our overlords, they're making 163 innovation per week. We're only making 104, and the only way we are gonna break free is by out-teching them. But now with our advanced building method and the fact I was able to drive down the costs of building, I'm gonna use this to max out my number of universities, thus increasing my research speed and ability to kill the British. Right now, engines are crazy expensive in our market and our balance is so low for them. Not only that, but I'm researching the combustion engine technology. And when you get the combustion engine, you will then have the ability to unlock automobile production. Now, people love cars, and I'm going to take a play right out of the American dictator's playbook here. In this game, we'll be the first person to research combustion engines. Once we hit that, we will be the only producer of cars on the planet. We'll do state-sponsored car advertisements. Tesla.
You want my notes?
Yeah.
They gave me notes. They said, everything's computer. That's beautiful. Wow.
They fucking eat this shit up too. It's like, it blows my mind. But because we'll be the only one building cars, there will be a crazy high demand. This will allow us to produce a massive amount of engines. We'll export the engines worldwide and then make the entire world completely dependent on us for engines, a key resource, thus skyrocketing our GDP and making us economically dominant over every other nation. So the next thing I'm gonna do is just start really pumping out motor industries everywhere I can. Okay, so we've just unlocked the combustion engine, and I'm going to switch it from engine production to automobile production. Beautiful. And if we look at our market now, there is a high demand for cars. They're very expensive. And as you can see, our Liberty Desire is currently going up. We are still entangled, don't get me wrong, but we're giving them a lot of automobiles, which is also helping. Okay, so we got diesel engines now, which comes with a new production method for our motor industry, making our engine production way more efficient. Very expensive engine that we just had and now is incredibly dirt cheap to produce. So cheap, in fact, that we can even start exporting. I'm sure if we try a new export route, oh my God, look at this. We can set up to the Russians and wherever. So after picking up the combustion engine, I'm just gonna grab telephone and radio. Our income is got up incredibly. We are actually cooking. Dude, look at this. We are actually about to pass the Americans. Chalk that up under things you'd love to see. Okay, we've unlocked the telephone now. So I'll build a couple of telephone production facilities. And our standard of living has got up so much in Canada. And our literacy is just so strong. The Americans are slowly learning how to read here in Montana. I think I'm going to beef up Alberta now so that it can become the next construction hub. We're making a ton of money, so we might as well invest in the construction sector pretty heavily. Oh, and the US is getting into a war with Mexico. Classic America. So currently we are doing really well. We're the #1 producer of engines, automobiles, telephones, radios, electricity, sulfur, coal. If we take a look at our military, we are 46 in the world. The US, the military industrial complex that is the US, they're actually #1 in the world, but not for long, to be fair. Alrighty, so now it is time that we start with building up our army. So if we look, we have the Canadian Army with 17 battalions. This is pitiful. And they have 123. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's the plan. Now I'm gonna have one main battle army. This is going to be the boys. It's gonna be everybody together. I'm gonna build out my artillery, cavalry, and infantry. So I've built out all my battalions now. So now I'm just gonna fill out the rest of the army with conscripts. Just temporary battalions. They're basically civilians recruited to do a job. I could do this because in my laws, I've enacted national militia, where we have a small standing army, but these conscripts are enacted to defend, or in this case, attack. So our military now has 555 conscriptable battalions, these civilian units, and 17 proper units, but they are going to fill out slowly and surely. And to make them even stronger, I'm gonna come over here to the mobilization tab. Now, this is where you can increase your army's offense and defense by giving them things like extra supplies or luxurious supplies. Now, because our economy is so powerful, I can afford to give these guys cigarettes, chocolate, nice glassware, liquor, opium. And what's happening down here? The new African uprising are fighting the Confederate US. Let's go, dude. Now that we have been starting to build out this army, we're going to need guns and bullets and artillery for our military. So I'm going to build out the arms industry, the artillery foundries, and the munitions plants as well. You can see they're not going to be profitable right this second, but it's fine. We'll just start exporting. Oh, and look, we have new Africa down here that has fought the Confederate US. Now, unfortunately, I have to do something un-Canadian in Central America. There's a problem in this game. If you look, we are the #1 producer of telephones and radios in the entire world. And we're putting in a ton of rubber to be the #1 producer. Now, unfortunately, if I wanted to import rubber right now, I could get a little bit from the Portuguese, a little bit from the Haitians, but other than that, it's really, really not good. Now, normally in real life, you can make rubber synthetically from oil and coal, but in the game, you just simply can't. There's beautiful rubber down here, not even being worked. Now, when I do go to war with Great Britain, I'm taking the rubber from their market. So when I go to war with them, they're gonna cut off that supply, and pretty much all our manufacturing is gonna be shut down. So in order to make sure we have secured rubber, we unfortunately have to invade Nicaragua.
The fuck?
Just the nature of this game. We don't want to do it. It's got to be done. And here you have it, the Canadian landing in Nicaragua. Capitulation for Nicaragua, and it is a sad day indeed. However, we can start investing in their economy and make it a little bit better. So they have tools, furniture, glass, clothes. We'll build out the wood. The rubber for sure will build out. We will also subsidize it. Pretty much gonna pimp out Nicaragua now. I'll put all these guys to the top of the queue and we'll go from there. Now I'm gonna start damaging relations with the British so that we can ultimately leave them. And you can see our Liberty Desire is coming in hot now. And now we almost have automated machine guns. Then we're going to be on to military aviation. And once we have planes, we should be able to just attack and kill literally anyone we want. Military aviation now, and we've become the first person in the world to fly, which is amazing because now if I come over and I start building new industries, for example, the war machines industry, basically our army is going to be so much better now because we have airplanes in it. All right, it's time. It's the year 1921, and we have built out our massive military. We have a very solid budget now. I mean, we are taxing people a little bit high, but it's okay. It's time to declare war against the British. You'll see right now in our economy, biggest loss we have is 356,000 from diplomatic pacts. We're basically paying Great Britain a massive amount in tax. For our GDP, we are #1 in the world, and our GDP per capita is also #1. And then the most important one in terms of military, Great Britain is #1 right now. 51 offense, 63 defense. Now we're number 17 because we have more conscriptable battalions, and we have 41 offense, 55 defense. However, we don't have to beat them. We just have to hold Canada, and the only foothold they have is right here in Newfoundland.
It's about a half hour down there running the Babels and what to say. That's what I call start of it.
So we'll press this demand now, and as this kicks off, I will mobilize all my armies, raise all the conscripts across every single holding we have, and then I'm gonna put the guys pretty much all on the one front. I will also just come and add a war goal specifically for them to return Newfoundland to us. Okay, so war has broken out with Great Britain, and it looks like we're just crushing them here in Newfoundland. I guess they just didn't bring enough guys. We're currently losing war support at -1.1, whereas they're losing it at -1.3. Basically, for now, we hold everything we need to hold. So we just have to kind of survive, essentially. And we're almost in default, but there you go. Capitulation from Great Britain. Let's go, dude. Canada is a vast and fortunate land. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. So we are going to start promote European migration. Hopefully we'll get a lot more immigrants coming in so I can start producing tanks now. And that will make my military even stronger. And we are very highly sought after to move to. We're #5 in terms of literacy, with only very, very small nations ahead of us. The Canadian standard of living, #1 in the world.
December 7th, 1928, a day that will live in infamy.
But for real this time. I'm gonna come over to the US. I'm gonna expel their diplomats. I'm going to embargo them. I'm going to declare a rivalry. I'm gonna do everything I can to them. You know what? I'm gonna first declare war over here on the Confederate States of America. I don't see a difference between the normal States of America and that one. With the Confederate US, I'll just, declare war on them. You may notice the game looks a little bit different. Unfortunately, at this point, I had to enable a mod, Cheap Maneuvers. Maneuvers are this currency in Vicky 3 that allow you to only add so many war goals to a war. You get maneuvers by your power and status on the world stage, and even though we're #3 in the world, we wouldn't have enough maneuvers to take the continental United States in even 2 or 3 wars. This is done so you don't break the game, but hell, I've already developed the greatest nation and the greatest military, and at this point, I just want to have a ton of fun and completely break the game by destroying the Americans.
Hell yeah.
So it is gonna mess up the UI a little bit, but it'll allow me to war the world, so I don't really care. Please, if you're a hardcore Vicky 3 fan and you hate this, leave a nasty comment about how how much I'm bad at Vicky 3 and how much you love Trump and Elon Musk and you want to suck his dick. So now I'm going to declare war against the Confederate United States. So you notice my war goals to conquer different states cost maneuvers. So I've gone ahead and added them all, and it's cost me like little to no maneuvers. So we're in good shape. So I'm going to mobilize all my armies and raise all my conscripts now. So war is kicked off now, and I'm going to start with a good naval invasion. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. And there we are. The boys are landing, ready to commit absolute war crimes on the world stage now here. Oh my days. Look at this. 18K dead compared to our 1K. That's so brutal. And we've enforced our demands on the Confederate United States. Beautiful. And I am going to turn my attention down here to New Africa. So I'm going to confirm war down there. You'll see that Mexico is likely to side with New Africa. Now, you'll notice the United States has done a terrible job this game. They have not taken normal United States borders. So that'll be perfect. I'll be able to attack Mexico at the same time as well. Come on, do it, Mexico. Do it. Do it. Yes! Yes, let's go! So Mexico is joined now, so I can add war goals for Mexico. Avocados for Mexico. So I could add taking Texas, Nevada, Arizona, California, Utah. And now normally I wouldn't be able to take all these states. I'd be able to take maybe a third, but now I have enough war goals to be able to take all these. So we'll quickly knock New Africa out of the war. We have a 97% front over here, so it's quite strong. New Africa has capitulated. There we go. So now we just have to kill Mexico. And we're launching 2 naval invasions, one here on left coast Mexico, one here on right coast Mexico, and they have 6 guys defending. Oh, there you go. We just rolled over Texas and New Mexico. It's amazing the Mexicans would call New Mexico, New Mexico. But wow, our army just got in there and smoked them. Like, there's like not even any resistance. This is brutal, to be fair. And here we go. We should roll right through the remainder of Mexico. And Italy has demanded we be cut down to size. I'm gonna decline this basically because we are a pariah, social pariah. We've been declaring unjust wars on little New Africa and, well, Confederate United States, maybe that's a just war. And Mexico has capitulated. We will be defending against Italy, Austria, Russia, and the North German Federation now, which is gonna suck if I'm honest with you, but we have some nice borders now with Mexico. Actually, while everybody's fucking going, why don't I just declare war for the United States now? I'm already at war with literally the entire world. I might as well be at war with the US too. There you go. That kicks off a whole bunch of problems. And as a result, I'm just gonna put in that I'm conquering the rest of the US now. And there you have it. My war goals have been added. The Japanese side with America. What is happening? It's Canada against the world. Elbows up, gentlemen. See these kooky Italians? They're trying to land on our shores, and 19 simple Canadian lads are pushing them back. Everything is expensive, but it doesn't matter. We shall defeat America, and naturally they will be our vassal soon. So yes, we are losing the South, but it's fine. Confederates live there anyways. It's not a big deal. Oh, okay. We got a bit of a revolution. It's fine. It's fine. Now the US has successfully taken back the southern portion of the US, which is okay. But again, we're just gonna create one big front and roll right down. That's the major plan we have. And we are smoking the Japanese, dude. Look, 4K dead. We lost 200 and we're on the offense. And the US, man, they're just losing people left, right, and center. Our offense is 95. Their defense is 46. And Rhode Island is an absolute holdout. They're fighting to the last man. Unfortunately, we killed the last man, so that's not a good shout. And this is a crazy front we have over here. It stretches the span of the country, but at the longest way possible. And the war borders have moved now. The US slowly is going to be holding on to Florida as their last resort. And I'm just hammering the US ships now. I'm going to start taking down their convoys and their supply routes. I think we're pretty much in default now, having fought the entire world. But what is money? We're just making it up, right? We have closed off the interior here. They're just falling apart at the seams. And Florida should be the last hope for them. America will fall here in just a moment. And look at this, the vital battle for Florida here. 50 Canadian units against 8 American. The casualties are piling up. And as you can see, the rest of the world's also at war. The US is down to pretty much Chicago now. There's casualties on both sides, I won't lie to you, but one side is clearly going to be victorious here. And there you have it, capitulation of the United States for all of this territory. And there it is, beautiful. Oh my God, and the US is not electrified at all. There's no power in any of these states. I think I'm gonna just start investing. So there you have it. We've defeated the US and they've become our 11th province. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time getting my economy back in shape, but I think this was a worthwhile endeavor and a sight you'd love to see. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. To my American friends, I hope you weren't all offended by this. It is all in good fun, I promise. Thankfully, you guys sat through all those school things. You got to keep your guns. I'm pretty sure you will need to use them eventually against this guy. To my Canadian friends, love you guys. Stay strong, buy Canadian. Don't visit the US on holiday. I'm sure the trade war will blow over soon. As Winston Churchill once said, you can always trust the Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
The Ottawa Welshman.
And if you liked that video, I've got some great news for you. I've handpicked the video on screen right now as one I know you're going to love. Why don't you check it out? Give it a watch.
Got 1,000 sons, all named John. They probably don't know that their cousin is the mom.